As Disney's ongoing maintenance issues worsen at their most profitable theme park destination, that being Walt Disney World Resort, Universal Orlando Resort has decided to throw a bit of shade at Disney's direction regarding their infamous non-functioning Yeti audio animatronic on Disney's Animal Kingdom's Expedition Everest Legend of the Forbidden Mountain attraction. Let's talk about Universal's literal Disco Yeti here on That Park Place.
Let's get to something that is embarrassing in a different way. Vash, have you ever ridden on Everest over there at Disney's Animal Kingdom?
Fortunately, in 2023, I was able to ride it for the first time ever, and I must say it was a fine addition to Disney's Animal Kingdom because I went to the park the first time without it. There definitely was a hole there, so I saw it being constructed. I was like, oh, that'd be so cool. And so a 20-year dream finally came true. Got to ride it. A very nice coaster, but, well, we all know the issues that it's been having on the inside.
Yeah, it's had a lot of issues on the inside. And I will tell you, having been a Florida resident at the time, I did get to see the Yeti in full working order back in the day. For those of you who are not aware, Mount Everest is the Walt Disney World equivalent to the Matterhorn. There are very few, and when I say equivalent, it's not really an equivalent. It is the really souped up e-ticket version of the Matterhorn. They're not even necessarily supposed to be compared to each other, so it's an unfair comparison. It was a Joe Rohde project. Go ahead.
Expedition Everest. I just want to go ahead and clarify.
Yeah, Expedition Everest. Forgive me. Also, the queue for Expedition Everest is great and sells you on the idea that you're going into this area where the Yeti might be a bit of a threat, and the legend of the Yeti is built up subtly over the course of the queue. Joe Rohde was in charge of this attraction, and it is one of the better attractions at Disney's Animal Kingdom and at Walt Disney World. Great e-ticket attraction. However, at some point, the Yeti stopped working correctly. So they took him from a very fast-moving thing. I mean, it's a beautiful animatronic, and there's like dangling fur off of him, so the motion really sells here. There is a slow-moving version, and then there is a still version with strobe lights. That is often referred to as, well, Vash, what do they call the Yeti now?
They lovingly call him Disco Yeti.
Yeah,
is what they go with.
Yeah, so it's there. There's like a little animation that plays before you actually see the Yeti itself, and now you're going by it very quickly, and there's a slow strobe that lets you see that there is a Yeti there, but you don't get a really good look at it. It was amazing in person. I will say that. There are lots of legends about why it doesn't work. There's some question about whether the structure there of the Yeti is causing so much strain on the Expedition Everest thing that it's causing cracks in the foundation. I've heard that's not true, but I haven't heard a reasonable explanation for why the Yeti does not function. But what I have seen is Universal just out of the blue. Universal Orlando Resort throwing shade out here. Shake it till you break it. It is, and there may be some audio on this. I'll play it here if we got it. So I'm not gonna play that over and over again so that we don't get copyright claimed on this channel. I don't know where this is at Universal Studios, but I see this as very, very directly an insult to Disney right now. The fact that they can't get that Yeti to work. In fact, I wonder if this was suggested by perhaps some of those former Imagineers that are now over there at Universal Creative.
Yeah, so there are some legends as to why it might not be working. I think the agreed upon consensus, at least from the community, is that there is some issue with the structure and how it interacts with this very forceful moving Yeti audio animatronic. I mean, I remember the Discovery documentary of the creation of this attraction, which is absolutely fantastic. If anybody
it's great, yeah.
Search that out. Go there because it talks about their research trips to Nepal and really wanting a recreation of a lot of what they saw for Expedition Everest, Legend of the Forbidden Mountain. Thank you, All Journal, for that. So the bad thing about all of this is, like you said, it sets up the Yeti throughout the queue, throughout the experience, throughout the iconography. And so when you don't have a working animatronic, it really is very disappointing. And from what we understand, the cost to actually go in there and the amount of downtime that you would require in order to fix the Yeti properly is so, I mean, it just operationally just really doesn't make sense for that specific park. It only has 4 attractions really. So that I think that's the inhibiting factor there. I think we've also heard from Bob Gurr saying, and he was behind the moving, a showboat in Splash Mountain. He was also worked on the King Kong animatronic that we saw, the first iteration of Kongfrontation over there at Universal Studios Hollywood. So he knows a lot about, big effects and so forth. And he was like, wouldn't have designed it that way. But Universal throwing shade. I mean, we've seen this a little bit, right? With the Halcyon thing in Men in Black. Right? Yeah,
and Men in Black supposedly doomed at this point. Disney's in a spot that they will not defend themselves in something like this. They're not. Disney has no sense of humor that they're aware of, and they've never made a mistake that they're aware of. They are the only kid on the block as far as they're concerned. They barely like mentioning that Universal exists on their earnings calls. I don't know if there's some bitterness there or if they're just sure that they are the best. I think that Universal, while it is not the same theme park company, it is not on the level of Disney. They use Disney's mistakes to their competitive advantage in a way that Disney does not. So, there was a rumor going around, for instance, that Disney was planning some Mardi Gras events, and that's why they were going to be doing all those changes that they were making to the shore of the rivers of America. It's not really the shore because you're up against walls there in that passage between Big Thunder Mountain and Haunted Mansion, to turn that into some kind of Mardi Gras area. Very obviously trying to, if they were doing that, it would be to get in on Universal's what am I missing here? Mardi Gras. I already said the word action here. So this is something that Disney can't respond to, and I don't think they will ever respond to. And all Universal can do is take pot shots, and they'll get rid of a ride that's not very good and replace it with hopefully something better. Fast and the Furious Supercharged comes to mind. That is going away, and no one is sad for it. I think, in fact, Universal is probably happy to get rid of that ride. Whereas Disney will take rides that everyone loves and tell you, no, it's for the best that we demolish this for stories matter reasons.
Yes, indeed. It's just you see Universal and they're a little bit more customer focused, whereas at Disney, it's all about what's good for you, and that's kind of the big difference right there. I will say that, due to the Disco Yeti and the issues that it's caused, that really did change how Imagineering worked on projects in order to ensure that everything was accessible so that it could be repaired, and everything has an actual B mode, not just a strobe light. So I think things have improved in that way. Regarding Imagineering's foresight when it comes to these projects, but it's still embarrassing. And so, Universal's taking pot shots, especially when their animatronics will debut with Dark Universe and so forth. I think they have every ability and right to throw a little bit of shade right now.
Yeah, I think it's a fair point. And with Darkmoor coming around the bend, I think... Oh my goodness! By the way, we're not covering it yet. I think we're going to leave it for Vash to cover it on Thursday's show. But they're doing some testing out there at Darkmoor, and it's only got me even more excited for what Galaxy's Edge should have been. It sounds like Dark Universe is actually going to be that. So I think Disney probably places an overemphasis on their IP to the point where they think the IP is what's bringing people in, as opposed to the magic of doing something that cannot be done anywhere else. And that cannot be done anywhere else is not a rights issue. It's not a rights holder issue. It is a creativity issue here. So I hope that someday the Yeti is fixed. I think it's so unlikely at this point, because it's something that only matters to people who were excited about it at the time that it happened. So that's not something that's going to have high ROI for the park. So there it goes.
Thanks for watching That Park Plays News. For more information, consider checking out www.thatparkplace.com. And don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and send this out on your favorite social media account.